Oh,
Oh, oh, oh. Hey guys, you guys have experienced me read your minds a few times.
yes.
How many times?
Numerous times.
What's the experience of actually having me read your mind and actually know what's under the thought too? What goes on with the both of you when you've
Um,
experienced that? Do you, Liam?
Sometimes it's a bit scary, and sometimes it's actually really nice. Because there's no fluff, and sometimes I don't know how to like voice what's going on in my head. So you can sort of dive in and go, "This is it," and then I'm like, "Oh, I feel really good about that."
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a bit scary, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes it's scary because I'm like, oh shit, I've done these things. Is he gonna know? Yeah, he's gonna know.
And then when I call them out, what does it feel like?
Oh, a bit embarrassed, a lot of shame sometimes. Usually shame for me.
Yeah. But how do
Personally.
you receive it when I tell you like what's going on? Does it feel
Oh,
like relief after that?
you can tell that it's coming from a place of love,
Yeah.
and like care and
Yeah.
integrity as well. So you can't get upset or anything, because you're here to help. Like that's what you just want to do,
Yeah.
and you can tell.
Yeah. And what about you,
I was
Gordon,
gonna
when
say-
you've experienced
Well,
me
say
read you
earlier
like a
on,
book?
and like when I was in like mind loops and all this sort of stuff, it probably wasn't good, and I'd be thinking all this rubbish or something. But now, like my mind's clear, and I know that you're doing the right thing, and you're goddess and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really different, isn't it? What's it like? You've experienced me read your mind quite a few times, haven't you?
Oh, always, yeah.
Yeah. And how does it feel when you have that experience when you feel a little bit
First time, not great. 'Cause
Yeah,
you
a little
just
bit
feel like
naked?
you can't hide.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just kind of at the point now. I'm like, oh, Jason knows what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, it's really interesting because a lot of the time people, assume, don't they?
Yeah.
And we assume and we project what we think someone else is thinking. And I, guys, have a sort of a thing that I can do, and I've done this thousands of times. It switches on and off, and it's not something that I do all the time. It's something that I've done lots of times. And so when you've got the ability to read someone, not just their mind, what their psyche is, what they do and how they do it, and actually pinpoint their future and what it's going to look like can be a little bit freaky because I've seen this.
That's your magic.
Yeah, it's a puzzle piece that I do, and it's one of those things that I've watched people start to harness in the academy too, because the academy work actually helps you become more self-aware, more able to figure out what's happening and what's going on in this world. And it's one of those things when you have that capacity to read people in a way that's loving, caring, and kind, without wanting to manipulate, and you're wanting the best from people. And it's a challenge having this sort of gift, and you're putting yourself in a pathway where this is not a normal experience. It's sort of a supernatural experience, but it's actually really natural, and you can actually develop it and get better at it as you go along.
Have you always felt comfortable with it, Jason?
No, I haven't, because I just got a question: have I always felt comfortable with it? And I haven't, because I've had a lot of people tell me to go and get fucked. And I sit there with a smile on my face, going, "You're a little bit unhappy with me right now, and you've just told me X, Y, and Z." I remember this guy Chris one day, and he didn't know I could read people's minds, and I did it to him for the first time, and he said under his breath, "You don't fucking know me." And I said, "Oh, so Chris, I don't fucking know you." And he just went completely white. And that was the first day where he actually gained some trust in me, because I was actually calling something that he had no capability to know how to do and what to do, and now he's starting to develop it. So when it comes to personal development, guys, and to be able to read people, there's so many ways in which you can do it. And this is what we sort of help in the academy, so you don't get lost in all the senses and the sensitivities of life, because we all get challenged through our experiences, and there's so much more that we can understand. Hey, Sam. So when we get into this picture of being able to really read people, like really deeply read people, and you're mature about it, you can actually help people make much better decisions and much better lifelong decisions, simply because you have a certain way about you that is mature, that has a capacity to read someone that's beyond what we naturally do. And I've blown so many people's circuits. I know, Sam, I did this with you, talking about, you were having a conversation with your wife a couple of days before, and I knew what was going on. And this is sort of what we experience, a lot of the people experience in the academy, and it's like building that up to gain this sense of awareness, because a lot of us have a sixth sense, and we have this, did I just hear that, or did I just think that, or where did that thought actually come from? And these sort of pop around the room, and this is one of the things that can happen when you open and really break open your mind to actually what is more than what we do when we're just talking, because we can talk under our breath, right? Quite often I can hear what's under the breath, and then I can hear what's sitting in all other places. And I was chatting to one of the academy members who actually ended up working for me, Felia, and I told her about a conversation she was having the day before with her husband. And I said, this is the conversation you were having at lunch yesterday, weren't you? And she was like, yeah, we were talking about this. And I was like, oh, but you weren't even there, right? So this is something that I do and I train, and this is something that everyone has the capacity to do. And imagine what this would be like if you could actually be more transparent and more open and not hide your thoughts. And the first beginning point around being able to do this really well is to be more vulnerable and not worry about what people are thinking. And those under the breath moments is being able to share what's really going on for you, but not spilling it all over people, just sharing what's happening.
Oh, it's also your mind loops, controlling your mind loops.
100%. Now I'm going to have to go because I've got a course to run. All right, see you guys.